The story is written by Hans Christian Andersen. Somewhere in the country, there lived two brothers, and they heard the princess's announcement. She announced she wanted to marry the man who could speak for himself. You know, a man who was not having a little wire behind his neck to give him the information, but just a man who could truly speak from himself. And so they prepared. Now, the first one memorized the dictionary. He thought that would make him able to really be fluent with the princess. And the second one read newspapers so he could discuss affairs of state. He could also embroider suspenders. It took them, well, about a week to do this, and they went down into the courtyard to get on their horses, which the father was giving to them. One was a milky white one was a coal black horse, and before mounting their horses, they asked for some cod liver oil, which they smeared on their lips to make them more glib when they spoke. Okay, so they get on their horses, they're about to take off, and all of a sudden, who appears? The third brother. Did I mention him? No. You see, no one ever talked about him. It was Hans Clodhopper. I mean, he never had anything to say for himself, and he was just, you know, one of those who was somewhere there. No one paid much attention to him. And he said, "Hey, where are you two going, all dressed up like that?" "Clodhopper, where have you been?" "Clodhopper, the princess has announced she's going to marry the man who can speak for himself." "Oh, how fine," he said. I'm ready to get married. I think I'd like to be taken." "Clodhopper, a man who can speak for himself, you never say anything." "Well, I'm ready now. Father, give me a horse." "A horse for you? It would be a waste." "Well, if you won't give me a horse, and you didn't worry about anything, I'll just take my billy goat. It's mine, it's strong, and it goes just where I want to go." "Ho, ho," he said. He jumped on his billy goat, and the brothers, who were not very anxious to be near, ho, ho, galloped off so they would be far ahead. So they're galloping along, and all of a sudden, Clodhopper says, "Whoa! Look at that!" So they pull on their horses, and he gets off his billy goat, and he picks up a broken wooden shoe. This is very special. A broken wooden shoe, they say? Yes. You know, I'm going to see the princess, and I'm not going to go empty-handed, so I'm bringing her a present. A broken wooden shoe. I think she's going to love it. Yes, they say. So he puts the broken wooden shoe in his pocket, gets back on his billy goat. They get back on the horses. Whoop! Off they go, riding. Oh! "Oh," he says, "look at that. Oh!" Gets down from his horse, his billy goat, goes over, and he picks up, the brothers get off their horses to see, a dead crow. Are you giving the dead crow to the princess? I think she's going to love it. You do? I think she's the right princess for this. So he puts the dead crow into his other pocket. They're riding, he's riding, and he's watching the day. He sees the clouds, he sees the trees, he sees the... "Oh," he says. "Oh, now this is special." Gets off his billy goat, goes down, turns his back to the brothers, and gathers up. What, they say? "Can't show you." Come on, Clodhopper, what do you have?" "No, Come on. We're your older brothers, you have to. Dirt? Dirt from the road? Yes. It's the finest quality dirt. Can't you see? It just slips right through your finger. You know what dirt is like. You know, all of you. There's all kinds of dirt. There's that thick, yucky thing, and then there's that wonderful dirt. And Hans Clodhopper knew the princess was going to love this wonderful dirt, so he filled both of his back pockets with the finest quality, lovely, dripping, dark dirt. The brothers knew they had to be separate from him. And not only that, they had to memorize their answers, which they wanted to be perfect. So they rode fast and furious. They got to the gate. They were packed in rows of 6 so tightly together they could not move their arms, which was good, because otherwise one of them might have knifed the man in front because he got there earlier. They stood there waiting their turn. The inhabitants of the village were gathered around the palace, looking in the window and watching. And the princess spoke to each suitor and unfortunately said to each one who came in, "No good. Scoot." And each one had to scoot. So it was finally the turn of the first brother. You remembered he had memorized the dictionary and forgot it the moment he stepped in. Well, of course, because when he stepped in on the floor and he looked up, he saw there was a mirror, so he was standing upside down. If that wasn't bad enough, it was summer and the stove was on, and he was so hot that all he could say was, even though he had memorized all the perfect answers, "It's awfully hot in here." And the princess said, "Yes, that's because my father's roasting cockerels, little roosters." Now, that's not what he had planned. You see, it's like job interviews. You know, you go and you have an idea of what you're going to say, and they forget to ask you the question that you want them to ask you, which is what all of these stories are about. It's about the unexpected and jumping out of the box. So I say, "Oh," because that wasn't what he planned for. And she said, "No good, scoot." And he had to scoot. So the second brother came in. Second brother comes in. You remember the one who was ready to discuss affairs of state and could embroider suspenders and all those wonderful things? And he says, "It's..." And there in the back are the journalists of the day and a judge. And they're writing down everything that each suitor says just to record it for the records. And they write down, "Dee-dee, dee-dee, 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 dee-dee." And she says, "No good, scoot," and he has to scoot. So it's the turn of Hans Clodhopper. He rides into the hall on his billy goat. "I say, it's wonderfully hot in here," because he enjoys what's happening. And she says, "Yes, that's because I am roasting cockerels, little roosters." "Oh, what a bit of good luck. I suppose I can get my crow roasted." "Oh, you've brought something for me. How thoughtful of you." "Yes," he says, "but you know, we don't have anything to roast it in." "Oh, that's no trouble at all. I've brought you the most lovely brass cooking pan." And he puts the crow in the cooking pan, and she says, "Well, it looks very splendid, but I don't know where the gravy is." "The gravy? I have the finest quality." And he takes out the finest quality mud and drips it on the gravy. "Splendid," she says. "You are the one I want. You speak for yourself, you think for yourself. We're going to have a great time. We're going to play. It's going to be wonderful to be together. But I am the princess, and you will become the king. And we really do have to be aware of the journalists in the back of the room." were saying. And the truth is, they don't understand a thing. Oh, he says, they don't understand. Then let me inform them directly. I think there's a judge standing next to them as well. I have just a little bit left. And he took the remainder of the finest quality mud from his back pocket and threw it whoosh, right into their faces. Wow, said the princess. I never would have thought of that, but I'll learn. And so that's how Hans Clodhopper won a throne of his own, a crown of his own, and a kingdom of his own. And whether any of this is true or not, I have no idea because I read it in the New York Times.